Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
Yo, it's Tavon Greatness Patterson. Want to listen to Hot 702.5 on the go? Download the Hot 702.5 app on the Apple Store or Google Play Store if you got an Android like me.
Let's get it.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Cheryl Underwood, and you're tuned into the hottest news station on the planet, Hot 702.5.
Hi. Hey.
What's up? All your favorite artists.
Check it out. Say my name. DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
Tune in now on hot7025fm.com.
Yeah. Jones. Hey. Greg Deville was at it, man. Hey. If you want the real, holla at Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. If you want the real, listen to Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. I'm talking real estate, building wealth, making money for your family and yourself. Now tune in. We here to help. Now tune in. We here to help. You wanna be a broker, you wanna be broke. You wanna be the joker, you wanna be the joker. You gotta bring more to the table than your hope, dreams, and wishing. I can feed you fish or I can take you out fishing. I can show you the vision, addition and division, mathematic equation. Make the money flip like an acrobatic, amazing. Greg Deville help you build the foundation. I'm saying, if you want the real, holla at Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. If you want the real, listen to Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. I'm talking real estate, building wealth, making money for your family and yourself. Now tune in. We here to help. Now tune in. We here to help.
All right. Las Vegas, 3 o'clock. That's right, on the dot. It's that time to get rolling with the Greg Deville Let's Talk Real Estate Show. I am your host, your nephew, Greg Deville. Once again, back in studio, hot702.5fm.com. This is what we do every Thursday, 3 to 4 p.m. We talk real estate. We talk some lending. We're talking about the Wealth Mindset Conference, Las Vegas. Yes, give it up. That's right. It's going down this Sunday, 10 a.m. at the Red Rock Conference Hotel and Casino. Listen, it's going to be bananas. Can I say that? It's going to be off the chain, y'all. It's going to be really, really nice. We've spared no expenses to make it really, really nice. I want you all to understand your opportunity to build a wealth mindset is now. We're in the, I don't know if many of you realize, but April is Financial Literacy Month. And so with our conference, taking the wealth mindset to help those of you get the 6 inches between your ears is your mind. And you really have to get to the place where you begin to think yourself rich. Napoleon Hill, think and grow rich. It's a thought. As a man thinketh, so is he. We understand your thought life has got to be together. You've got, we talk about real estate. When people are looking to get into it's first a thought. When you talk about getting married, it's first a thought. When you talk about having children, well, that one may not have been a thought. I was going to say children. Sometimes it happened. But for most, it's a planned deal, right? Once you get married, you plan to have. But there are some instances where it's happened. But nonetheless, there's a thought to what type of career you want. When we look at selling homes, we say, what area, what type of property are you seeking for, right? The first thing is, even if your credit isn't where it needs to be, you have to get a thought that I'm going to get my act together with my credit, right? I'm going to face the elephant in the room and deal with my credit. And so when we talk about that, the Wealth Mindset Conference is going to speak to all of those topics. So we have the Ladies Lounge as well as the Men's Cave, right? The Man Cave is where it's going to be raw and uncut, uncensored, unfiltered. We're going in raw and uncut. And I've got a fantastic guest today who is one of our speakers talking about Your Legacy Matters. Let me welcome to everyone and introduce us on, present to others, Mr. Joshua Igiliki Jr. Good morning, Joshua. How are you, man?
Hello, hello, good morning. I am excellent. Happy to be here. How's it going?
Man, everything is wonderful, brother. I thank you for taking time out of your busy afternoon to speak with us. Now, listen, as many have been hearing about this conference, you're one of our keynote speakers as well, who is going to talk to the men in the man cave. And so, Josh, for everyone that may not know, Josh and I worked together for many years. Josh is also, now he's an attorney at law, but also Joshua is a financial lender, broker. He does lending for us. Joshua's phenomenal in that when he looks at a file, if Joshua says he can do it, it's going to close. And he's sharp, right? It's like having a good electrician that can analyze a problem and tell you here's where it is. And that's what Joshua does. He looks at the file and he said, Deville, I can make it happen. It's good as gold. It's good as money in the bank. I can draw that commission now because I'm going to get it later. So, Josh, your legacy matters financial. So listen, man, give us a little bit. What made you start your business in the financial world? Tell us about that.
Well, it's interesting, Greg. The first career, I would call it, that I had coming out of was actually in the mortgage field, and the market
Okay.
crashed and things started changing and all that.
I'm having a breakup, Josh. Ooh,
Market
ooh.
crashed. Excuse me.
I'm having a little technical difficulty with your connection here. Check the private chat in just a second. Yeah, we're having a little breakup. Go ahead. Let's see if you're back. Are you?
Can you hear me now?
I hear you. Go ahead. Just keep talking out. Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to log in through the cell phone app, if that'll maybe work better for you.
Yeah, let's try that. While you all work with the engineer, let me say this to everyone listening to our show on today. The Wealth Mindset Conference, it's a conference that's being held April 16th at the at Red Rock Hotel and Casino in the Conference Center on the 5th floor, Sunday 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Lunch will be served. There is a minimal cost. However, we're only 2 days away. The doors are beginning to shut because we have to have registration complete. So those of you that are inquiring about, we are running a discount right now for those last minute. We just really got to shut the door. I'm giving one more day for those last minute that are saying, I want to come and I forgot to register. The wealthmindsetconference.com is the website you want to go to, or you can go to eventbrite.com, okay? So wealthmindsetconference.com or Eventbrite, and that will get you in to the conference. Now, or you can contact me directly, 702-349-0162. Okay, let's see if our guest, Mr. Joshua E. Gillicky Jr., are you back with us now? How we sounding?
Yes, sir. I can hear you fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I have a better connection. No, engineer says she's still working on it. She'll get you together.
No, okay. Let me know when you're ready. I'm ready for you.
Yeah,
Glad to be here.
I think you got a good. Just speak a little louder for me. That's all, because it sounds like you're away from the phone.
Okay, give me a
There
second.
you
I'm
go.
trying to get
Okay,
my,
no, that's good.
connection. Okay, you can hear me fine like this?
Yep. Okay, let's go for it. There you go. So you were explaining how is it that you got into the financial world, and again, as I was sharing with everyone, Joshua is definitely a great lender. When I've sent Josh a file, and everyone knows, all my lenders know, I work with about 8 or 9 lenders. All of them are exceptionally well, right? They all do a wonderful job. The wonderful job is in that they close the deal. What I like about Joshua as well is that he can look at a file and say, no, this is not going to work. Here's what I'm going to need you to do. And I think that really helps the client to know they need something to do, and then they're good. And so that's what I really appreciate about Joshua. He can look at it, no, not now, because it's never no, it's just not right now. But here's what you need to do to get there. So, Josh, what gave you that whole idea as you go ahead and finish how you got into this financial world?
Yeah, excellent. Hopefully, everyone can hear me now a little bit better.
Yes.
My first career after graduating from business school was in the mortgage business.
Okay.
I did a lot of work with Countrywide Home Loans back in the day. Some of you guys may remember that company.
Yeah.
And I worked my way up, worked extremely hard, and became a market sales manager overseeing the Arizona and Nevada markets. And there was a lot of growth, a lot of potential, and then the market crashed.
Okay.
And when that market crashed, I took it really hard. You know, I saw a long future in the mortgage world at that moment in time, but when the market crashed, I didn't know what to do next. And it became a blessing in disguise because it was the catalyst that caused me to go to law school. Okay. And at that moment in time, it was a little more difficult to get a job because the market was in a bad place.
Okay.
So I decided to go back to school, received an MBA at UNLV as well as my law degree.
Wonderful.
And after getting that law degree and that business degree, I was able to begin a career in the legal field as an attorney, doing different things. I started in litigation, and slowly but surely I made my way over to estate planning. Okay. And as I began doing estate planning, I really found a passion for it because I found that as I would assist people with creating a plan for what would happen should they pass away, what would happen to all of the wealth that they've created, what would happen to all of the work that they've been putting together, what would happen to their families without them physically being present on this earth, how would that look? And going through those conversations, seeing the weight that was taken off of their chest, off of their shoulders at that moment in time, I really found a passion in a field that I didn't know that I'd be so passionate about before. And slowly but surely, I began receiving calls from former mortgage clients who said, "Hey, Josh, I heard you're an attorney now doing estate planning. We have this home and we need to figure out what to do with it. We want to make sure our family's secure. We want to place it into a trust." And, you know, God works in mysterious ways and puts things together when you don't know what the plan is. And it became clear to me at that moment in time that I had a unique skill set in that not only am I a licensed attorney who understands estate planning, I also know the mortgage business like the back of my hand.
Right.
And it became clear to me at that moment in time to put those two things together. And that's how we began YLM Financial, where Your Legacy Matters is what YLM stands for.
Right.
And through YLM Financial, our goal is to assist people in building wealth through real estate, but then most importantly, preserving your wealth through proper estate planning.
Exactly. And so to our Wealth Mindset Conference, for those of you that are listening and are excited to be a part of, Josh actually has a platform where he's going to speak to estate planning. And Josh, you have done this for me in the past at one of our other sessions that we developed for estate planning, Your Legacy Matters. And so we really appreciate what you bring. The knowledge, the information is so informative. I had to have you at my conference because, again, I just telling people, explaining to them that there is a difference between a will and a living trust. And without giving up too much, just give me a tad. I don't want them to think they don't need to come to conference because you explained everything. But certainly the myth that is between the will and the trust, just how could you explain that over airtime, but yet draw them to our conference so they don't think it's over?
Right. Well, without going too deep into it, the big thing that people need to understand is when you have a will, first, a will is a great first step, right? And you want to at least, at minimum, have a will so people know your wishes.
Right.
The thing about the will is, although people have and understand your wishes, those wishes still need to be presented to probate court. And a probate court then needs to determine the validity of that will and determine if those wishes can then be manifested and those things be transferred to your beneficiaries. By setting up a trust, we can bypass probate.
There you go.
And the costs associated with probate.
Yeah.
And probate can become very expensive.
Yep.
So what our goal is when we do proper estate planning is to allow all of your assets to transfer without having your beneficiaries, without having your heirs have to go down to the probate court and be stuck there for months on end, waiting for a waiting for the court to enter a decision regarding what happens with your estate.
Right.
And by avoiding probate, you also avoid the public nature of probate. Now all of your assets can transfer without anybody being able to go down to the court, view the public records, and see exactly what you passed on to your beneficiaries and or heirs.
Right, right. So in essence, out of all that, in other words, a will have you in court. A living trust will keep you out of court.
That's correct.
Bam.
That's correct.
Killed the game right there. There you go. Wonderful, man. And that's the part, that's the piece that I really wanted to, chime in on with you is the living trust and how important it is. Because I did sell a home to a young man. He was adamant. He heard my radio show. I got a will. And so I know, woo, woo, woo. And at the end of the day, we still landed in a probate court. Now, I understand there's up to a certain amount that the court doesn't. So if you have more assets, let's just talk about that for a moment. You got more assets and you're talking about the in the will, that's more for the court to have to kind of feed through. Is that how do you determine what that's about?
Yeah, the more assets that need to be transferred, if you are in probate court, first of all, the goal is to avoid it. But if you do end up in probate court, and actually let me state it slightly differently, because you won't be in probate court. Frankly, you passed away. Your estate would be in probate court, and your children or beneficiaries, whoever would be taking from your estate, would be the ones stuck dealing with this without you being there. But when that does occur, the value of the estate is partially what's going to determine the cost of the probate. So the more assets you have, the more expensive the probate proceedings will be.
Right. Okay. So when we talk about doing this, again, it's something that I want to sit down with you about, and you give me the gist of the importance and how valuable it would be. Now, when we talk about cost, is it relatively expensive, or can I do a living trust? I know you're an attorney, but real talk, can a person really do an estate, a living trust on their own? I've heard people say, I set my own trust up. Is it really true that you can do it yourself?
Yeah, you can certainly do it by yourself, just as easy as, if you needed some some electrical work done at your house, you can do it by yourself. You just might blow yourself up, but you could try it by yourself.
Right.
Now, by having an attorney look at it, by having an attorney draft it, by having an attorney take you through the process, you will likely have it done better. And that's the ultimate goal, because if there's flaws in the trust, then your estate may be going through probate anyways. So the goal of avoiding probate would be hurt in that the language and things that were placed in that trust when you did it by yourself, if not correct, may cause you to end up going back through the probate process.
And still end up court anyway, trying to be a do-it-yourselfer. Okay, got you. So again, everyone listening and just tuning in, we're talking to Joshua Igiliki Jr., the attorney at law, who is one of our keynote speakers at the Wealth Mindset Conference this Sunday, April 16th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Listen, you're going to want to be in the building. We have dynamite speakers, wonderful guests like Joshua, who's going to talk to you about estate planning and how your legacy matters. He's with YLM Financial. Joshua is also a lender who works directly with Deville Realty Group, and we're proud to say there has been 99% turnaround with Josh's work with Deville Realty. I'm telling you, I can't tell you a file that Josh did not close. And I'm telling you, Josh, can you remember a file that we've together worked on that you just got in the middle and to the end we couldn't?
No, that when you said 99%, you threw me off. I'm almost certain we're at 100%.
I'm making conversation. I'm making conversation. Yeah, even though we've had some, I remember one was really, really challenging, and we were sweating bullets, if I may. And I'll tell you, without calling names, but I do remember one particular file that was very, very unique. But that's the deal with working with Josh, is that when you talk creative financing, and knowing the back door, how to get into a file, say, oh, well, I have this other way and so Josh, man, you pulled off. So yeah, 99. So yeah, we really did 100. We really did 100. Yeah, we really did. I think there's a few who we've sent over that just weren't ready. I think when I think the 1%, maybe just the ones that weren't quite ready. And it's not your fault that you couldn't close them. It's just they weren't ready, right?
Yeah. And that's kind of what we try to remain transparent with you and your clients with is if there's a situation that's going to prevent someone from closing, we make that known up front so everyone's on the same page. But most importantly, we create a game plan into what those clients need to do to get qualified to purchase a home, because ultimately we all have the same goal, and our goal is to help people get into these homes, help them begin building their wealth. And if they're not in a position to buy that property today, we're not going to give up on them. Our goal is to get them through the process, and we will work as hard as they're willing to work.
Right.
So if any client wants to purchase a home and they're committed to going through the process, we'll help them create that game plan and walk them through that process until they cross that finish line.
Now, so how has lately, I've been doing a lot on my radios talking about HELOCs. How are you seeing those numbers pretty high right now? What is that looking like, the HELOC, to those that, well, just explain the HELOC, if you will. You're the lender. I can, but you're the lender. Let's let you do it. Explain the HELOC to a person listening that's an owner.
The easiest way to understand a HELOC is it's a large credit card tied to the equity in your home that allows you the flexibility to use the money when you need it and not use it if you don't. If you pull the money out and you access those funds and you come across a lump sum of funds and you want to pay the money back, you can pay it back. The beauty about the HELOC, and the reason why the HELOC has become very popular in recent months, is because many of our clients who took advantage of those low interest rates over the last few years are in a great place, and we don't want to pull them out of those lower interest rates that they have on their home.
Right.
But at the same time, what happened over the last few years is a lot of equity was accrued as property values increased.
Right.
So when people have the equity in their home, the question becomes, how can I utilize that equity? How can I leverage that equity to do some other things that we want to do financially? Yeah. And the HELOC provides that nice complement to the low interest rate that you have on your first mortgage by allowing you to access your equity without touching that low interest rate that you have on the first mortgage.
So it really keeps you in a great place. Now, so what are you seeing? So I'm going to do a HELOC on my home. What are you seeing possibly my rate would be if I were to do a HELOC next week, from where we are today at least, right?
Yeah, no, great question. HELOCs are tied to the prime interest rate. So right now, the current prime rate is 8%.
Okay.
So you will always have a margin tied to your prime. Prime plus 1, prime plus 2, prime plus 3. Those margins, those pluses that I'm adding to the prime, is tied to multiple factors. One being credit. What is your credit score?
Right.
Another being your loan to value. How much of the equity are you trying to tap into as compared to the actual value of your home? And those are usually the primary factors that dictate what that margin would be.
Okay.
I would say the average client now, 700 credit score, you're probably looking at a margin of about 2 to 2.5 in that range. We have some clients who have margins lower than that. We have clients who have margins that are higher than that.
Okay.
And then what happens is as the prime interest rate adjusts, so if the prime rate goes from 8 to 8.5, then during that month, your rate would also increase by that 0.5%. At the same time, however, if that prime rate begins to decline, your rate would also decline.
But that's but that's going to decline while we're in that process, right? It's not. It's a fixed. So the HELOC is a fixed rate. Am I correct?
No.
Okay.
The HELOC is adjustable.
It's adjustable.
Tied to prime.
Okay, it's adjustable. I didn't hear that word, so that's the word. It's adjustable.
Yep, it is an adjustable. It is an adjustable loan. Now there are second lien loans, similar to a HELOC that you can acquire that are fixed.
Okay.
For example, and you may hear the term HE-loan instead of a HELOC.
Okay.
The HE-loan offers you a fixed rate option. The difference being is with those HE-loans, you don't have the flexibility necessarily in most cases where you can go and tap into that equity whenever you want to and pay that money back when you want to. It's more similar to a loan in that you're locked into a monthly installment payment that you pay for the term of that loan. And sometimes, and for me, I like the HELOC. I like the flexibility of it because I may not need the money now. I just want to have access to it so that I can allow that HELOC to sit without using the funds. And then if I come across a great opportunity and I need quick money to take advantage of that opportunity, now I don't have to go back to a lender and wait in line for those funds. I have it on my line of credit. I can access it and go ahead and pay it without starting the loan process from the beginning. So the HELOC comes with some flexibility. However, there is a rate that's going to be adjustable, whereas the HE-loan eliminates some of that flexibility, but it also eliminates some of that risk of rates rising.
So I want to pivot into this one because that just gave me, because what I've been seeing a lot of individuals doing now, taking that lump sum. Recently just sold a home to a client, have a home in Summerlin, but they wanted more space. They wanted to be near his job at the Galleria area, right? And they took $80,000 out of their home, kept the home, did the HELOC, and used the lump sum monies, right, to buy down some cards or credit or something to raise the score, and also to put a lump sum on the next house. Now, let me ask you in this note. So would the HE-loan be better if I'm going to take the HE-loan out and I'm using a lump sum? I have $120,000 of my 80% loan to value, right? Because it's 80%, correct? I can borrow up to 80%. 80
no. We can go up to 90% loan to value on the HELOC.
On the HELOC, you can go to 90.
Yeah, we can get all the way to 90%. Yeah.
Oh, well, how do you get me to that? Because I've been preaching 80. How are we getting to 90 now? What's changed there?
Call YLM Financial.
Good plug. Okay, so it's not.
No, we do
as
a mortgage. One of the things that we do at YLM Financial as a mortgage broker is we're constantly working with different lenders. We're constantly looking for different lenders that we can partner with that provide added value to our clients. So we do have lenders that we partnered with that allow us to go up to a 90% CLTV or combined loan to value, I should say, when doing a HELOC. Now, everybody's not going to qualify for the 90%.
That's my next question. What is the qualification to the 90%? My FICO, my equity amount, what's tied to that 90%?
It's primarily FICO. So you're going to need to be 700 or higher to get to that 90%.
Okay. What's the FICO at 80? Minimal. Talk minimals.
You mean to get to 80%?
Yeah.
We can go as low as 660. We can go as low as 660.
660
to get to an 80% CLTV.
Okay, but if I get a 680, I get a better rate because that's what this loan did recently, the HELOC. So they needed to be at 680 to get a better rate.
As your FICO score increases, your margins will get lower.
Right. Okay. And the interest rate.
And that's correct. That margin is tied to the rate.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good stuff. Now, again, because you're telling me the HELOC is adjustable, but the HE-loan is a fix. So would you advise someone, which direction would you advise someone who has that? But, well, you said it has to be a 700 or better for the HE-loan. They're not quite the 7, so HELOC might be the better option, but it's adjustable.
Every scenario is different. I would, talk to the client, see what their goals are, what they plan on using the funds for, if they have a plan for the funds. If those funds are going to be used right away, or if it's just, hey, we want to have access to the funds and reach those funds at a later date. All of those questions will determine which option is better. Both are good options. It's just a matter of the individual situation to determine which one's better for them.
So my goal is to have you pull up that 80%, or possibly 90, but let's say 80 because that's a 660 if I don't have a client there. So let's talk about the HELOC. Let's talk about, so now let me ask you this. So they're going to get, let's say it's 85,000. 80% of 240 was 180 because I had 200, but I took 80. But the question here is, so let's say they took 80,000 out, right? Now, the interest rate on that HELOC, you said maybe 8%. So 8 times 8 is 64. So explain that payment. Huh?
That 8% does not include the margin. So that's your starting rate, is the prime rate of 8% plus the margin. So let's assume you have a margin of 2. You know, as I mentioned, a lot of clients kind of tend to be at that 2 to 2.5 margin.
Okay.
So if your margin was 2%, that means your total rate would be the 8 plus 2, which would be 10%.
10%.
So you'd be looking at a 10% rate for the HELOC.
Right, which is $80,000 times 10%. Am I reading that right to be $80 a month?
That would be a interest-only payment. So if you were at $8,000, you said $80,000?
$80,000. That's what I want to know because I want to sell this. I want to sell this because people have homes, but they have their credit above the 660 number. But they want to they want to refinance, but I'm saying no, don't touch that rate because you're a lower rate there. Let's consider you talking to the lender about the HELOC. Well, what's the HELOC? And so for my clarity's sake, when I say you take 80,000, what would a payment look like for someone that takes 80,000 under the HELOC with a 660? I just need a number.
Well, I would just assume we're at a 10% rate, you know, without sitting down and doing a full qualification. If they were at a 10% rate, 10% of 80,000 is $8,000.
Okay.
And you would divide that by 12.
By 12, right.
And you're looking at a payment of about $666 a month.
$660 a month.
And that is because what happens on the HELOC is you're paying an interest-only payment initially. Mm-hmm. So the HELOC gives you the lower payment of only interest only for the first 10 years. Mm. And then after 10 years, they want you to begin paying the principal and the interest because that money, the principal needs to be paid back at some point. So the HELOC is a 30-year loan with the first 10 years interest only.
But no
so
prepayment.
It's an easy calculation.
But no
it's an easy calculation. Okay. You always just take the loan amount multiplied by the interest rate and divide that by 12, and that's what your payment would be on the interest-only payment with that HELOC.
So the HELOC, so are you seeing a great number of people getting the HELOC and yet using that for something specific such as investment properties? Because that's the angle that I'm using my radio platform is say, let's take the HELOC, let's get $150,000, let's put it on a $500,000 building, right? That's going to create a residual income because people say, I got equity. I don't want to refinance because I'm already at a great rate. So I want to offer them that HELOC, right? I want to say, hey, talk to my guy, Josh. Let's talk about the HELOC. But I'm using the residual income aspect, right? That's something I'm speaking about at the conference about the option of the HELOC. But now you're saying the HE loan. So the HE loan, I'm going to take a lump sum, and I'm using that lump sum for a purpose, not just to have money lying around, right? I'm not trying to put rims on the car, new stereo, right?
Right.
You know, I don't just want to get a new Escalade. However, I'm talking to them as a realtor about the advantage of making your money make money for you through the HELOC, through residual income, which is a duplex, fourplex, triplex, so on and so forth, right? So now they're getting this payment. They're getting that payment of $600 a month. So it would behoove them to buy something that is going to benefit making that payment.
Absolutely. You know, if you're going to borrow the money, the goal is to borrow the money at a price that you can make more money on that money. So if you have if you're using it to purchase other property, that would be part of your calculation. How much is this money going to cost me?
Right.
And what are my alternatives to these funds? Right. So if you're trying to buy an investment property, and let's say you need 30% down on that purchase, do you have the 30% laying around to make the purchase? If you don't, but you have the money sitting in equity in your home, then now you have a source that you can use for that down payment. And if you use this source through a line of credit, just be mindful that the money that you're borrowing is at a cost, at an interest rate.
Right.
So the idea there would be borrow the money, buy the investment home, and try to pay back that line of credit as quickly as you can through maybe the rental proceeds that you're receiving or any additional funds that are coming in, so that you can get rid of that line of credit payment. Because the faster you get rid of that line of credit, the more rental income you're going to begin to earn, because now you don't have that payment that's holding you back to receive more of those proceeds each month when your tenant makes those rent payments.
Right. Now, is there a prepayment penalty to the HELOC or the HELoan?
I'm sure there's programs out there that have prepayment penalties. The programs that we utilize don't have prepayment penalties. Okay. Those can be paid back as soon as need be. The big thing with the HELOC is you have the 10-year period of interest only. And after that 10-year period, whatever money you still owe, you now need to start repaying that with principal and interest each month.
Okay. So the interest only. So let me ask you this. While you're doing HELOCs, what are you seeing most people, just for an example, what you're seeing most people doing with taking out a HELOC on their homes? What are you seeing there? Because you're saying you give them, so that scenario, so what's your purpose for doing it? What is your goal, right?
A lot of folks are using the funds for home renovation, building pools in their home, redoing their kitchen. Right now, we live in an HGTV world, so people sit around their house all day watching HGTV, and hey, I would love to do this, I would love to do that, and the equity in their home allows them to do some of those things.
Right.
And the other thing would be kind of what you're referring to is using those funds to invest in other real estate or other investments in general.
Right. And I think, and again, I just want to, I think a updated kitchen is nice. However, you know, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki mentioned once his wife wanted to buy this new Mercedes. And he says, well, why don't you take that money she was going to put on that new Mercedes and put it on an apartment building, use those rents, and let one of the units pay the car note, right? So that way, that residual income, you were making money from that versus buying a car and just another asset versus having something that becomes, you know, something that creates income, right? So that's always stayed with me is if you're going to get a lump sum, do something that's going to make something, because you got to pay it back.
Right.
So that's kind of what I wanted to speak about, and that'll be a segment in the conference that I'll be sharing with some ideas of creating wealth through equity, right? But I wanted to hear from you and those that are listening on today is to have an understanding all the more of some options that are available. So the HELoan sounds pretty good because, again, that rate is fixed because I'm using a lump sum of money. I'm just going to put that. I don't need money. I need residual income, right? Because most people do well. They got a job, they got nice cars, but they have a great amount of equity. My preach is, let's get you something else. Don't sell this. Let's get something that helps you when you retire, because my goal is to have minimal 40 income properties as my retirement in the next 10, 15 years, right? So using my equity gives me the leverage, and then the equity from that next building, right? A couple, 2 years, 3 years down the road, what do? We pull off of that. We go get another, right? Is that right? Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah. That's where real estate becomes very powerful.
Yeah.
Is using ways and identifying ways to leverage the real estate to generate residual income.
Yes.
And when you think through some of these programs and some of these things that we have access to now, these are opportunities for a lot of people to generate their wealth through real estate. And there's plenty of people doing it, and individuals like you sharing your goals and strategies is huge for our community, so that people can learn and see firsthand by what you've been able to accomplish,
right,
how these things can be done, not just said, but actually done. So I commend you for all the efforts that you've done, not just for your own personal wealth, but for sharing the successes and strategies that have worked for you, so other people can follow in those same footsteps.
Right. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. So, look, Josh, man, you have given me your time today, and you're going to give me a little time on this Sunday, April 16th. And for those that are listening, the Wealth Mindset Conference this Sunday, April 16th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Josh will be there around the 3 o'clock segment, I believe is where you are. I'll have more details for you, Josh. You all that are listening, listen, come get, Josh is going to have a whole platform and a PowerPoint. And we'll have a bit of Q&A there. But come and learn some valuable information that's going to empower and impact you to go greater, deeper, and farther in your life in finances. So the Wealth Mindset Conference, Josh, thank you, man, for your time. I know you're a busy guy. You're closing deals and you're fighting cases. So you're an awesome dude, man. You're an awesome brother, man, to be able to be an attorney, a broker. Man, I commend you. A father, a husband. Wow, brother. My hat's off. I don't have a hat on, but if I had a hat on, take my hat off to you, brother.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, man. Listen, let the rest of your day be great. We'll talk to you again Sunday morning. Let's converse on your time. I know you have some other things happening in the morning, but we'll set your time so you'll know right where you are. Thank you again, Joshua Igiliki Jr., Your Legacy Matters, YLM Financial. Thank you, sir, for spending your time with us. We'll be speaking to you real soon.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Take care. All right, Las Vegas. That's right. You heard it right here at the Greg Deville Let's Talk Real Estate Show, where I've been hosting a financial segment about your equity. Understand the HELOC, as Josh mentioned, and the HE loan, right? There are some options that are available. You own a house, but you work every day and yeah, you've got some savings, but you've also got equity. So we want to mention how you can use equity, right? How you can make multi-stream income so that while you're working, your money's working. Your money's not just sitting in an equity, because as home values have gone down a bit, we're not expecting a crash, but however, home prices have gone down. The same home I'm selling for $370 back in 2022 could have gotten $430. Right? But the values have trickled down a little bit because of supply and demand, right? And so people aren't racing for homes anymore, which the demand drove the pricing up, right? Because of the demand. So we understand we've settled a bit only because the interest rates have trickled. During COVID, we've sold more homes than you can imagine. People say, I didn't work during COVID as far as realtors, but I'm like, it was our busiest couple years. And people had taken advantage of the low interest rates. I mean, 2.25%. 3%. I refinanced from 4.25% to 2.99. I mean, so it was a great time. Why is it a great time now? Because you have equity in your home. As Joshua mentioned, you still have equity in that home. Now, again, some of the options are going to be available come Sunday. Tickets are merely $149. Listen, it's not a big number to learn a lot of information. So again, I'm Greg Deville. Contact information is 702-349-0162, or you can text 702-787-7559. I appreciate you, Las Vegas. I thank you for giving your time, tuning into the show every Thursday, 3 to 4 p.m., right here at Hot 702.5 FM. This is what we do. We talk real estate, strategies to building wealth, and creating wealth through equity. I've got to get out of the square chair. I'll talk to you real soon. In fact, I'll talk to you next Thursday. Until then, may God's best be yours. Take care.
Jones, hey, Greg Deville was at it, man. Hey, if you want the real, holla at Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. If you want the real, listen to Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. I'm talking real estate, building wealth, making money for your family and yourself. Now tune in. We here to help. Now tune in. We here to help. You wanna be a broker, you wanna be broke. You wanna be the joker, you wanna be the joker. You gotta bring more to the table than your hope, dreams, and wishing. I can feed you fish or I can take you out fishing. I can show you the vision, addition and division, mathematic equation.